Welcome to the lesson recording for week 5 for computer fundamentals. And you can see that week 5 we're moving into the advanced analysis unit. This is all about using spreadsheets. So you will do the Class Connect, watch the recording like you're doing now, do the write-up as usual, turning into the Dropbox as text. You'll also do a finishing plan assignment. This is similar to the success plan that you did, or learning plan you did at the beginning of the course. Now there's a finishing plan that will get you an idea of what you'll be doing for the next few weeks to wrap up the course. So we're about halfway finished now. And then we go in, and in this unit you can see, or this week, it's only sections 1 through 4 of the advanced analysis unit. Sections 5 and 6 will be week 6. So you're going to do some work in section 1, then you have a project, look at sorting in section 3, section 4 filtering, then you have project 2. So again, this is just going to be sections 1 through 4 of the advanced analysis unit. And before we jump into this, let's go ahead and look at the finishing plan. So I'm right here in the advanced analysis unit. Here's the finishing plan. In the finishing plan, you'll turn it into the Dropbox as text, not as an attached file. So do not attach the file, and you'll just answer these questions. Very simple. What's your current grade percentage? Well, go to the grade book, you can find it. And I want the percentage of what your grade is, and I want the points you've earned so far. Then on this one, what percentage do you want to earn? If you want to get 80%, then put 80%. How many total points overall do you need to get that grade? So if it's 80%, you need to go to the grading information link in the course syllabus or the course home area to see how many points 80% is. So then how many more points do you need to get to that grade? So you take the points you need for whatever percent you want, like 80, minus the points you've earned so far, and that will give you the answer to number 4. Then you're going to list some assignments and include the points for each one. How many more days are there from today to March 15th, because that's the last day of the course. And finally, how many weeks you're going to work on it. So this is pretty easy 50 points. So it should not be a burden to anybody. This will give you an idea of what you need to do to be successful for the last half of the class, right? All right, moving into advanced analysis unit. And in this one, as I said, it's about spreadsheets. And in the advanced analysis unit, you're going to analyze data using Excel or using the spreadsheet program that comes with OpenOffice if you're using that. So there's going to be some advanced features of Excel. So let's get into section 2. And before we jump into this, as usual, let's go to the write-up, the Class Connect write-up. In section 2, explain what formulas and functions are. Give an example of the sum function performed on a range of cells. So we're going to learn about referencing cells with range by range and absolute references, and how to manipulate data. In this section, explore techniques in Excel, generate data using formulas, generate, format, and modify spreadsheets. Formulas and functions. A formula is a mathematical equation. So like this one down here, you can see this would add whatever's in A6 to whatever previously was B4 divided by D3. So of course it would do this first because it's in parentheses, so you should know that from basic math. Once it does that math, then it would add whatever is in A6. And you always start formulas with an equal sign. If you didn't have the equal sign, you typed it in, then it would just type this stuff in the cell exactly. So that's why the equals has to go in there. So here's what a formula is, a math equation, and a function is a predefined operation. So you can see on this function down here, Excel knows what the word sum means, and it's going to sum, or it would add all 3 of these cells. So again, formula and function, that's what they are. Now this is a tutorial about ranges. And a range, as you know, is a set of cells, a set of contiguous cells, meaning they touch each other. And sums start out, they have to have the equal sign, so you type equal, then the word sum, and then parenthesis. Now think about adding up, like if I had to add up cells B1 and B2, B3, B4, B5, etc., add up all those, it might take me a long time to type them all in. I might make mistakes. But the sum command can be easier, and I just use a range. So all you need to do is just watch this video, and it'll show you how to do it. And you can see that it's going to do math. It's going to do sum on whatever is at C5 all the way to C38. So I have an example. I'll go ahead and pop my example up here. So here's a basketball player, and he's scored or she has scored this many points. If I want to add all those up, I'd go down here and I would do equal, sum, parenthesis. Then all I have to do is highlight all of this, parenthesis, enter, and there's the sum. And the powerful thing about using this, maybe this was actually supposed to be the number 12 points. So watch what happens to 162. So if I type 12 in, it automatically does the math down here. Maybe this was supposed to be 35 and does the math automatically. That's one way to do sum. That was manually. Now if I want to do this again, on my computer, I'd go up here to the top right. There's auto sum command. I'd hit sum, and it does it automatically. Hit enter, and it does it for me. I could also go formulas, and then go here to auto sum. There's the sum command. Enter. Now maybe I wanted to put right down here. I want it, so this would be sum. Maybe down here I wanted to put average. But down here, if I want to do the average command, then I'd go up here to, there's average, and I'm going to do average just on these. Enter, and there, it did an average for me. Again, if these change, maybe this was 10 points, you can see that average and the sum, those things change automatically. So that's the powerful idea behind using these types of commands, these functions, formulas. Makes life much easier. Okay, back to our lesson. So you really need to watch these videos as you go through this work. Some of this work can get kind of complicated, so make sure you watch all of these demo videos. Adding and deleting rows, what if we add or delete rows? Let's go back to my example, but you can watch that video. And maybe the person didn't even play this game, so I'm just going to hit the delete, so I click it out, and then these numbers down here changed automatically. And I can actually grab that, move it up here, and now all my formulas and everything I could change to match this stuff. So adding and delete, if I needed to add something in, so I'd insert right there. If I needed to add something, and then I would go down and make sure that this is still doing B5 to B13, that's doing math all the way down to there. So you can see how things can change for you as you go along. Okay, so this is going to walk you through formatting or adding, deleting cells, things like that. And next, we need to think of different things that we might analyze if we owned a company. Like how many different transactions did our business do during that day? What are the different customers we dealt with? How much money did we get from customers, etc.? So we're going to be able to analyze those things. Now before we move on, I want to look at the Class Connect write-up, see if I have any other questions. So example of sum function, count, and count if. We'll look at those eventually too. Now, this has some data, and the person who's recorded this video, it shows you how to manipulate data. So you want to make sure you watch this presentation on filtering. And what filtering does, let me move up here, filtering allows you to look at specific bits of information. So as you watch this video, you can going to filter to find unique things. I'm going to hit pause. So right here, see those different transaction types? So you can do a filter that would filter out and give you information just on the types that were utilities, or just on the types that were supplies. And you could do the math to add up everything that was a customer purchase. So you'd have, about 12 customer purchases. So you would filter for just specific information. That's the usefulness of filtering. Now, the reason you need to look at all these things is because you're going to be doing this work later on for the projects for this unit. So again, filtering is just pulling out specific bits of information. That's what filtering is. And now when you do the filtering, there are different things you can do with those bits of information. In this example, they're looking at the command called the COUNTIF. And what this means is that count up the number of transactions of a certain type. So in this case, they want to find out how many transactions were customer purchase transactions. Well, we looked at that previously, didn't we? We saw that there were different types of transactions that happened. So what this would do is it would count all of the things that were customer purchases. And the way the formula works, this would count if whatever in B5, which is the words customer purchases, wherever the, or actually would do from B5 all the way to B37, everything that was equal to E10. So let's take a quick look at this part of the presentation and check this out. So I'm going to pause this. So now look. So count if. So count everything from B5 to B53 if it matches E10. So if I go down here to E10, E10 is called customer purchases. So what this formula says right here is count up everything that is a customer purchase from B5 to B37. So that's going to count. Here's a customer purchase, here's a customer purchase, here's a customer purchase, here's a customer purchase, and there's probably 2 or 3 more. So it'd be like 12 customer purchases maybe. So that's going to count the number of purchases. It's not going to add them up. Now we could have done some if, then it would give us the math, and it would add up everything that was just a customer purchase. So this command here will tell you to count or even sum up everything in a certain range that matches whatever your filtering requirement is. So that's the COUNTIF. Now COUNTIF is different from count. Count would add up everything. So that's how the COUNTIF works. And watch that video and it'll show you. But now I want to show you how count works. I'm going to go to my sample right here. So if I wanted to do a count, maybe right here, or because I do it down here. Count, so I want to see how many games the person played, so I put equal count and formula parentheses enter. So I can see that there were 7 games played. Now if I go up here and if I delete one, you can see that all these numbers change, right? I put that back in and they change again. That's how the count is done. Now I can't do COUNTIF on this because I don't have any collections or any sets of data. But again, you want to make sure that you watch this video to see how the COUNTIF works, because you're going to have to use the COUNTIF later in the work. Okay, let's go back to the Class Connect write up, make sure we're doing the right, or answering everything. How's COUNTIF different from, or count different from COUNTIF? Well, I just told you, didn't I? Count counts everything in a column. COUNTIF counts things only if they meet a certain filter. Now, sometimes when you start doing this stuff, you can get some errors. And you can see right here, they did the math on here and they came up with just count of 2. Well, that was correct. So you can go up here to the top and you can change the way the filtering is done. And this will explain what happened. And what it's called is relative reference, and then there's something called absolute reference. So let me give you an easy example of this, although they showed in there too. Let's go right here, and here are the number of hours on 3 different days that a person worked. And they got paid $12 an hour. So if I go right here and I want to figure out how much they made each day, I would do equal 5, and then times 12, enter. So you can see right here, this formula takes F4, which is right here, multiplies it times F1 to give me 60. And now all I have to do is just copy that formula down from here down, and it'll change it automatically for me. So watch this. So now I copied it down, but check this out. It got 0 right here. So our original formula was this times this. Now when I go down here, it says F5 and F2, so now it goes from here to here. Even if I go to this one, it goes from here to here. Because what happens whenever you copy cells in Excel, formulas and things, then it wants to change, like the F4 it wants to change to F5, the F1 it wants to change to F2. It changes them automatically. That's called relative reference. We want things to be absolute reference, so check this out. So I'll go right here to this formula, and I'm going to put a $sign F, $4, because actually I want the F4, F5, I want these to change, but I don't want the F1 to change. So actually right here I put $sign F, $1. And that makes it so it won't change. So now watch when I copy this formula down. Now check it out. So this one was F4 times F1. This is F5 times F1. This is F6 times F1. So with the $sign in the formula, I told it to keep the F1 and not move it. But I did not use $sign for F4, so F4 changed as we went down. So that's called relative, is when it doesn't have the $signs, and absolute is when it does have the $signs. That's the reference, that's absolute reference and relative reference. So here's absolute reference I just talked about, and that's where you'd use the $signs to get absolute reference. And absolute just means that you want it to do the math on that exact cell or analyze that exact cell. Now fixing the count if, so you can see what they've done is they went in and put in $signs, so then the count if, so the formula wouldn't change. Only thing that's going to change is the value at E10. So that's how you can fix those count if commands and the sum commands when you copy them, because errors come up when you copy them. And it's important to know these errors because you're going to be analyzing a spreadsheet as part of the projects to fix errors, analyze and fix errors. So now in this one, you'll finish the task, you'll go through, you'll put the count command on. We learned how to do a count, and you'll practice the count commands and doing copy and paste so you can see how that type of stuff can be done. And the sum command, I already showed you a little bit about the sum command. So again, you can do the sum if. So to think of this again, if I click right here, this is doing sum if. It's going to do a sum on, only if the type was a sports car. So it would add up all the sales for sports cars. So that would be sum if. Or it could add up all the sales for utility vehicles. So it would just add up this one, this one, this one, and this one. So it can filter to do the sum if, just like the count if. So watch that video. Finally, in summary, we looked at filtering, absolute and relative references, count function, sum if, count if. Let's go to the write-up, make sure we answered all the questions. We did answer all of these. Okay, now we're going on to section 3. I want to get to the end of section 2. I don't think there was an assignment. Yeah, here's the assignment. So let me go to page 16. Okay, we looked at all that. Okay, 17. Now this big assignment. And on this one, you're going to open up a spreadsheet. So they give you an Excel spreadsheet, and you can open that. It'll open up in OpenOffice spreadsheet if you use that. You're going to analyze it. So let's open it up first. Then I'll go ahead and open it. And here it is. So you have all this data. And your job is to analyze this data. So as you look at it, this is about mob activity. You can see that there are all these mobsters, and here are the crimes they committed and how much money they made. If I can go down all of these, there's about 80 mobsters in here or something. Well, over 100. Wow, more than 167 mobsters. You can see the totals and the number of crimes. Now, if we take a look at this number of crimes, 165, see, did the math, D3 to D167. So added up all of those. And then on the math right here, it did the sum of D3 to D167. So it did that math automatically. So there's lots of formulas in here. And then this is per mobster. So this is the total stuff. And then over here, they added things together. So like for Albert Anastasia, if we went down this list, we would probably find where he had 7 crimes. Anthony Anastasia had 9, Joseph Biondo had 7, etc. And then these are their total payouts. So you can see that what this one did right here is it added, starting at B3 to B67, whatever equaled F3, so Albert Anastasia. And then it did the sum. Then this one did for Anthony, this one did for Joseph Biondi, etc. Well, we need to see if the formulas are correct. So if I look right here for Anthony, I see this formula is correct because it's doing it from B3 all the way to B67, D3 to D167. If I go over here for Anthony Anastasia, his is doing B4 to B168 and D4 to D168. So here's a hint, that is wrong. So Albert's is correct, Anthony's is wrong, because you want all of these to do their filtering on all of these, or on all of these. So you need to fix the formulas. And then bootlegging, so what this says is that go filter and add up everything that was a bootlegging crime. So it looked in this column. So this one for bootlegging went over here and it said, okay, for everything from C3 to C167, which is everything here, find bootlegging, which is J3, and then add it up. So that's what that formula right here, that's what that formula did exactly. So that formula is correct. Now if I go down here to corruption, look, corruption starts looking at C4 to C168. So corruption starts in this cell right here. Well, we want it to be on everything here, right? So that's some change there. And then there's some error right here on this yellow. Then you have some questions to answer. So let's go back to the assignment. Okay, what it says, you need to analyze it, find and fix some errors. There are duplicate entries in the file. Find them and delete them. So I would bet that you're going to find those duplicate entries probably right here. So you need to analyze duplicate entries. And that means entries that have the exact same information. And once you find them, then delete them. So find duplicate entries and get rid of them. And I've showed you how to delete already. You do not change anything else, just the ones that you find you have to delete. So you're going to do that. Analyze and fix formulas that are wrong. Well, I just showed you earlier a couple of formulas that are wrong. And this says the cells that are yellow are important because they can check your work. If they go to 0, then you have corrected. Now, looking at this, I had students last year in this class, they said, oh, well, I'm going to type a 0 right there and a 0 right there, and that means I'm accurate. No. These are formulas right here. So if you analyze this and if you throw out the things that are duplicate over here, like it says, and if you analyze these formulas and fix these formulas so that they are absolute rather than relative references, because that's the issue, then automatically this will turn to 0, this will turn to 0. Automatically. So you're going to fix formulas. And actually it's not going to be these formulas, it's going to be, there are formula errors over here and there are formula errors over here. So you're just going to make some fixes. So in this section, you're going to delete a couple of duplicate entries. They'll probably be down near the bottom. Over here, you're going to fix formulas. That one, and in this area, fix formulas. And then this will turn to 0, and that will turn to 0. Then once you do all of this, you'll answer this. Which mobster made the most money? Which crime had the most number of crimes? And once you analyze your formulas, then you'll get the number of crimes for the mobsters, and your numbers will turn out properly, and you'll find out the most numbers of crimes. So that's how you do this work. So, as it says, aside from removing the duplicate entries, and I've talked about that already, do not modify A, B, C, or D. But you will modify G, H, K, and L. So again, G, H, K, and L, they have some errors because the count if and the count and the sum commands, those things are wrong. And I showed you, like these top ones, these are correct. But there was an error when they did their copying down. And once you fix it, answer those 2 questions, and then you will just save your spreadsheet, save it as Unit 8 Assignment 1, and then you submit that spreadsheet so I can see your answers. So here's the grading document. You can take a look at it. It's very similar to what we just looked at, very similar to the directions. But the work, please remember, once you get that finished, you just save it as Unit 8 Assignment 1, and you upload your spreadsheet that has everything corrected in it. Okay, so that's the first assignment. So let's move on. So now let's go to Section 3. So now in Section 3, as we look at this, we're getting into sorting. So let's go to the Class Connect write-up. In Section 3, explain what sorting is, and explain the difference between ascending and descending. In Section 3, sorting. Sorting is putting or organizing data or objects of some order, so putting things in order. So in your closet, you could sort your clothes. You could have your pants hanging up, and then your long sleeve shirts, and then your short sleeve shirts hanging up. They would be sorted. Or you could sort your shoes by color, or sort your school books in alphabetical order, things like that. So that's what sorting is, organizing data and objects into some order. In this unit, we're going to look at the process of sorting and look how to use sorting in Excel. And this talks about a guy that says, sorting is about identifying categories and organizing information. Now, sorting a single column. Now, you sort things, mostly you sort them alphabetically, but you would select the range of data, and then on the top of your screen, you hit Data Sort. So let me give an example, because the example they give in this recording, Excel, so you have to watch that. But then in mine, like if I open up, I'll open up my sample here. So if I want to sort this column, so I would just highlight that, then I could go up to Data, and here's Sort. And I would sort it on points scored, hit OK, and now you can see that it sorted it in descending order, or ascending order. So that's how sorting works in the spreadsheet program that I'm using. Yours might be different, so you need to figure out what your sorting command is. And this will show you another way to do sorting. Sorting multiple columns. The multiple columns, you can do sorting also. You just need to make sure that you choose which item you want to sort on. So go through this, it takes a minute and a half, and sorts over multiple columns. And the nice thing about sorting over multiple columns is that if I did a sort on multiple columns here, then it would keep everything that's in the same row all together. Now if I just sorted on just column B, then it would mix these things up. So these things would stay the same, but column B would go alphabetical. You don't want to do that, obviously. So watch this video, it talks about sorting. Again, sorting multiple columns of data, talking a little bit about that. Secondary sorting. Now, secondary sorting is when you can do a sort within a group. So what person you would sort one column by alphabetic, and then the next column you would sort by a person's name. So a secondary sort does a sort within a previous sort. That's what a secondary sort is, a sort within a previous sort. Here's a video on how to do the secondary sort, so make sure you watch. Ascending versus descending. Really important to know which way you're doing it. Ascending goes from low to high, descending goes high to low. So if we analyze that a little bit, actually one of the videos will show you that. But low to high would be 0 to 9, A to Z, etc. So ascending and descending. Let's go to the write-up and see if we answered the questions. Explain the difference between ascending and descending. Give an example of when you would use a secondary sort. We talked about what a secondary sort is, and the video is going to show you one in the lesson, so you should be able to come up with an example of when you would use a secondary one. And let's go to the last page here. I don't think there was no work on this. We looked at sorting single, multiple, and then data sorting. Okay, section 4. So section 4 has some write-up questions, I believe. Now let's see. What does filtering command allow you to do in spreadsheets? In a spreadsheet, how can you easily choose the whole spreadsheet? Okay, filtering, it lets you look at just parts of your spreadsheet. So we're going to look at filtering in Excel and use auto filtering. So let's say a spreadsheet has 48 entries with all kinds of items. And it could be a school spreadsheet, so it could have staff in the school and a list of students and things like that. So staff might want to filter for all the students with a GPA over 3.1, all the girls who play basketball, all the students who like science. So if they have all these items in different columns, then they could filter on those pieces of information. So this will show how that filtering is done. The auto filter. If you look at that, that shows you exactly how to filter, how to select a whole table. So right at the top up here, you choose that box right above the 1 and next to the A, and it selects the whole table for you. Then you can do your sort. So you can see the different, or you do your filtering. So you can see the different filtering here that can be done. So watch this presentation to learn how to do the filtering. Turning auto filter on and off, there are the commands to do that. You can do filters within a filter, so you can find just the science fans, then you can find all the girls who are science students. So filter within a filter. Custom filters you can set up, so you can do some comparisons. Like the students who have exactly 3.1, the ones that are greater than 3.1. So you can do all different types of customized filtering. So in summary, we looked at auto filtering, categories, custom filtering. And then on this assignment, you're going to add filtering to the spreadsheet that you did before. So again, you saved that spreadsheet as Unit 8, Assignment 1. So you're going to open that up, and then you're going to add filtering to cells A2, B2, C2, and D2. Filtering on those. You turn on auto filtering, and you're going to filter to come up with a number of, so you would filter for this one, you would filter on the crimes for October, and then how many crimes were there for October. And then you're going to filter for June, but then do a secondary filter for which were extortion in June. Crimes of less than 60,000, so you use the less than sign, 60,000. The mobsters whose last name started with a B. And then some top 10 crimes. for the first 3 months of the year. So you have some modifications you're going to do here. Look at the assignment sheet to make sure you know what you're doing, but you're going to use that document you created before, that spreadsheet, to do some filtering. And then to turn your work in on this, you would highlight these, and you can just kind of paste these questions into your spreadsheet, like the bottom of the spreadsheet, and then answer them. And then you'll save this spreadsheet as Unit 8 Assignment 2. Turn it in with these answers at the bottom of the spreadsheet, with these sentences at the bottom of the spreadsheet, so I know what they are. Okay, that's all the work for this unit. That's the recording. Again, you have the write-ups to do, the finishing plan. Make sure you get the finishing plan done, because that's an easy 50 points. Then you have the 2 projects that you need to do. So that's sections 1 through 8, or sections 1 through 4. 1 through 4, projects 1, project 2, and then sections 5 and 6 will be next week. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. I look forward to your work coming in. Bye.